Welcome to Deep River Farm. Well, fall's in the air, folks. 56 degrees this morning. Boy, it feels good. Feels excellent out here. I'm giving the chickens some little treats this morning. They getting some stuff here that they really like. Salad, getting some lettuce. Getting some lettuce for them. Good thing to supplement the chicken feed. They're giving them some good nutritious stuff like this to eat. It's kind of a treat for them. And what's happening is this stuff has gone out of date in the store. So we picked this up yesterday, and we're gonna feed it to our chickens. You got to do what you can to supplement the feed bill during this time, if you know what I mean. So we're giving them some good stuff to eat. While we're doing so, I want to talk to you about something else. We just did a few videos. We did one on fake meats. I hope you was able to catch that one. If you haven't, go back in the library there on Deep River Farm and pull that up. I think it'll be something you'll be definitely interested in, and it's something you need to know about, and it's something that's going to be coming to a grocery store near you. So it's something you need to be aware of. They're building the world's largest cultivated, they call it cultivated, it's lab-grown meat. Largest plant in the world being built in Wilson, North Carolina. Something you need to check out and be aware of. You know, the whole push is to do away with farms. They want to do away with the farms, and they claim it's just not good for our atmosphere. Can't say a whole lot. You get squashed, so to say. They'll stop it from getting out. They don't want nobody to know the truth. So you got to kind of talk around in a circle. But I'd encourage you to check that one out. Also, we made a video about some fluoride in the water and its effects on the human body itself, as well as plants, and what it does to your garden stuff. Well, this morning we're going to talk a little bit about the chlorine that's in the water. As most of you know, probably 2/3 or better of the population of the United States is on a city or county public water drinking supply, some way, shape, or form. You know, even if you live in an area where you have a well, most of your school systems that your kids go to school in or whatever are on a public drinking system. So it's hard to get away from. If you go into the city, you go to a restaurant, all the tea, all your bottled beverages, and I mean all of them, are bottled through a city or county water system supply. So this is something that needs to be thought about. Today we're going to talk about chlorine. Now, what's the chlorine purpose in the water? Chlorine is basically a disinfectant. It kills the germs in the water system. Not only does it kill the germs in the water system, It cleans the pipes, purifies everything. But chlorine evaporates. That's why when people put chlorine in their swimming pool, they're constantly having to add chlorine. You know, they'll test the water with them little strips to see if they've got enough chlorine, if the pH balance is correct, and this, that, and the other. Well, chlorine naturally evaporates, so they have to go in there and they have to sling the chlorine to it, or they put a tablet in the pool, whatever they do, because it evaporates. Now, they're introducing a new regulation. The Washington has issued new regulations. Imagine that, some more regulations, and they want to tighten the levels that are needed to, they claim, disinfect the water systems. So this is a level that chlorine can't produce. So they're introducing a chemical that they tried to introduce many years ago, and this chemical's been banned all over Europe because it's very, very detrimental to your health. It's a chemical called chloramine. Not chlorine, but chloramine. The difference in chlorine and chloramine is it's a whole lot stronger. It does not evaporate. So this is not something that they're going to have to constantly add to. Once this chloramine is dumped into the water system, it stays there. And let me tell you how this chloramine works. It's a very, very strong disinfectant. It also has properties in this chemical that causes copper and lead to adhere to it. So if your town is an old town and it's had a lot of it's got a lot of old pipes in the water system. Let's say your water system might be 70, 80 years old. You still uses old galvanized or old iron pipes for the water. Chances are there's probably some lead stuck in there, copper, other kinds of metals. Well, as they use this chloramine, as it comes down through the lines, it actually breaks this stuff loose that's been stuck there for many, many years. And then that creates it and pushes it down the line for consumption. So you got you get these people every once in a while come on TV and say so and such and such is just tested for some high levels of lead. Well, more than likely, that city or town has just introduced chloramine to meet the new EPA standards that's been set by that brilliant crowd in Washington. And it's sucking the stuff out of the lines, out of the pipes, out of the water tanks, out of the water treatment center. It's pulling all that stuff that's been there for years and years and years. It hadn't bothered nothing. It's just kind of settled there. It hadn't moved. Kind of like if you don't disturb asbestos, you're okay. Once you disturb it, you got a problem. So with these new standards, they're disturbing what's there, copper and lead. And now the copper and lead is being pushed out into people's taps and coming right out in their tap water. Very, very minute particles of it. And we all know what lead does. It causes a lot of problems for learning. It causes low IQs, a whole host of problems, especially in children. So this chloramine is a bad deal. That's why it's been banned all over Europe. You know, the United States is supposed to be the leaders in environmental stuff, this, that, and the other. But they're using more stuff in our water, in our food, that's more harmful to the humans. And all these other countries have banned it. The United States has so much processed foods and the stuff they dumping in the foods, gassing them, and feeding all these antibiotics to animals. All this stuff's banned overseas, and you know why it's banned? They don't want they want their people to live over there. I think the United States wants, all it is about the money, raking the money in, and when you get sick, that's a good thing for them too, because they want the big pharma involved. And it's got to the point now when you go to the doctor, all they want to do is treat you. They don't want to help you get better. They just want to treat the problem. It's kind of like what my buddy said. He said, you know, if you come down with asthma, they don't recommend you moving to an area where you have a lot of water that collects all the pollens and this, that, and the other that would give you that. They want to stuff an inhaler in your mouth and treat it. You know, an inhaler, all it does is mask the problem. It doesn't cure the problem, it masks it. But you know, a good doctor would tell them to, you know, move to an area where you got a drier humidity. Maybe there's a body of water that'll collect all of the pollen and the things that you may be allergic to that triggers these asthma attacks. But that's what happens here. So to get back to our chloramine, let's talk about how the chlorine and the chloramine in the water system affects your garden stuff. Basically, when you water your garden and you own a city water supply, the two biggest problems in the water is the chlorine, or they may have replaced it now with chloramine and your fluoride. We did a previous video on fluoride, so we ain't going to talk about that right now. We're going straight to the chlorine. When you put chlorine on your garden, what this stuff does, it gets on your leaves, it causes problems with photosynthesis, it causes your plants to not be able to do right. And the main reason is because the chlorine gets down into the soil, it kills the microorganism that your plant needs to survive and produce the fruits and stuff that you're going to be eating out of the garden. So it's detrimental to that. Chlorine is very, very highly toxic to indoor plants. If you think you ain't got a green thumb and everything you buy and plant-wise in your house dies, if you're on a city water system, now you know why. So the chlorine causes issues with photosynthesis, doesn't allow the plants to fully develop. It starts killing the plants from the root system up, because the plant is not getting nutrients, because the chlorine or chloramine is killing the microorganisms in the soil. So it doesn't matter how good a soil you got, if you're using city or county water, it's going to be detrimental to your plants. So you need to use captured rainwater or water out of a stream, creek, river, spring, something like that. You just gotta do what you gotta do. Now, if your city or county system's still on chlorine, you can run a 55-gallon drum full of water and just leave it sitting for about 48 hours out in the sun, and it will evaporate. But the chloramine, if it's in your water, it will not evaporate. So it's there. It just won't evaporate. But if it sits out long enough in a clear jug and the UV rays can take care of it, it will eventually go away, but it takes a little while. So something for you to think about. But it won't get rid of the fluoride doing that. Your fluoride's going to be in it. I appreciate you joining us today as we've tried to describe some issues you may be having. Your plants look good, but they just ain't doing well, and it may be because of fluoride or chlorine. I encourage you to go back and look at the fake meat video and the video on the fluoride, and now you know about the chlorine and chloramine. I appreciate you joining us today on Deep River Farm. Our chickens are going to town. The hens is getting ready to lay. We just collected about 20 eggs. So y'all have a blessed day.